starting to minimize the brain stimulation. Allow the palms to meet the knees, palms down for grounding if that's necessary, palms up and open to receive if you need some energy. We're going to sit really tall here, rooting down to our sit bones, elongating through our spine, letting the crown of the head shoot towards the ceiling. As we check in with our breath, we don't change it in any manner, we just allow the natural rhythm to occur. Checking in with your own natural rhythm, feeling the rise and fall of your chest and the movement of your diaphragm. We let the knees and hips soften, shoulders relax, and just breathe. Being together here for the next 20 minutes or so, allowing the body to move through a little bit of strength and stretch. On your next breath, go ahead and flutter the eyes open. Utilizing that breathing pattern, we'll inhale, sweeping our arms up towards the beautiful sky, and exhale back down. With each breath, just flow it out here, lifting up with the breath in, and exhale back down. Finding whatever the rhythm works for you here, nothing new or different, nothing good or bad, just whatever feels good for your body. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale down. Next breath, we'll inhale up, reaching the left hand over to the mat, and a big full body stretch over to the side. We're going to feel that from our hip all the way up into our armpit. Take a look towards that arm. Next breath, we'll inhale it back to center and back down. Inhaling, lifting up, and now to the over to the other side. Feeling that big soft body stretch, rooting down into those hips. Take a look up at the top arm, and then we'll inhale the arms back up towards the sky and back down. Inhale, lifting up towards the sky. We'll twist to one side or the other, whatever feels good for you here for that big, tall spine. Breathing through it. Eyes are on the higher horizon and chin is parallel to the mat. With your next breath, we'll inhale towards the sky and exhale opposite way. Finding that back arm is a duplication of your spine. It's right next to your rear. Big, tall spine here looking somewhere near your back shoulder. Inhale back to the top, and we'll let the arms come down. Finding your way to all fours. If you need a little knee pad here, you can always grab a blanket or a pillow, or flip your mat into a little fold. Finding your hands right underneath your shoulders, and your knees right underneath your hips. We'll start to work through cat-cow. As you breathe in, belly drops, head comes up, chest opens. As you exhale, opposite direction, press into the palms, tuck the chin, and arch or dome towards the ceiling for cat. Inhale, belly drops, chest opens, head comes up, cow. As you exhale, extend for cat. Finding a few rounds of these on your own, just breathing through each transition. This is a great posture to really start matching the breath with the movement. Inhale, belly drops. And exhale, extend. I'll meet you back at the top with a flat back. We'll let the toes come together and the knees widen as much as that feels good for you. Drawing our hips towards our heels or somewhere near it. And then we're drawing the body forward and down into a deep child's pose. Checking with the breath here as we let the chest and forehead slowly meet the mat. And it's okay if the rear isn't shifting as much as mine. You might be somewhere up in here. Just allow the breath to be the guide as we settle back into this posture. Feeling our spine elongate, stretching apart all of those little discs and vertebrae, energizing that blood flow and that chi and energy all the way up the spine. Maybe feeling a stretch across the hips, inner thighs, or the back sides of the arms. We'll walk our arms to the edges of the mat and then turn one temple to the floor, allowing that space in the neck and shoulders. Take a big breath here. Switching to the opposite temple, settling down in this spot, tuning into the breath all along the way. Start to recognize those tension areas. Just give them permission to release and let go. Bringing the forehead back to the center and eventually making our way back up to all fours. Working through the shoulders next with our breath in, we'll inhale the right arm towards the sky. Look up at those fingers. And as we exhale, sweep it down and thread behind the left arm, drawing our right shoulder and our right temple to the mat. Stretching that left arm out in front of us. Tuning into the breathing. Feeling those shoulder blades start to come apart. Take another big breath. Eventually making your way back up to all fours. We'll find ourselves in hands and knees again, flat back. Breath in, we lift up with the left arm now. Take a look at those fingers. And as we exhale, slide it behind the right, drawing the left shoulder and the left temple to the mat. Now extending the right arm out. Breathing through it. Maybe recognizing that this side feels a little bit different, depending on how the neck and shoulders are feeling today. Next breath, we'll bring the body back up to all fours. Crisscross the ankles, and we'll bring ourselves to a seated position with the legs coming out in front of us. Find yourself seated with a big tall spine. Your eyes are somewhere on the horizon. We're rooted down into those little sit bones here. We have our toes being drawn towards the body so they're flexed. Inhale, sweep those arms up, look through those palms. And then exhale, forward and down into whatever your version of a forward fold looks like here in this seated spot. Catching up with the breath here. Slowly bringing the body back up. We'll find those hands just placed on the mat beside us. Inhale, breathing back up towards the sky. When we exhale, we're all twisting to the left here for that spinal twist. So you find this back arm is really close to the body. Again, kind of a duplication of the spine. And then you're looking out and over somewhere near your left shoulder. Crown of the head shoots towards the sky and your eyes are on the horizon. Take a deep breath. Inhale, back up towards the sky, and then we twist to the right. Take your time. Big, tall spine, planting that back hand, breathing all the way. Another big breath. We'll inhale towards the sky, exhaling down into another forward fold. Breathe through it. Slowly starting to bring the spine up. We'll pull the soles of the feet together in a little diamond pose. We'll grab a hold of our toes and then gently just start to draw the front body down. It's okay if the spine rounds. The head can become heavy here. The neck softens and lengthens. And we just let the chest drop down with gravity. And for some of you, that might be just right here. That's okay. Just let that head drop. You might even be able to walk those hands out to accentuate the stretch in the hips.
inner thighs, low back, or just attaching again around the toes, a nice little anchor system as we sink into the posture with each breath. Take another big breath here.
Slowly bringing the body back up. We're taking the same position to our back, so a reclined butterfly. Let the soles of the feet stay together. Knees are out wide. We find a nice spot for our low spine. And we'll take our arms out in a cactus pose. So it's that goalpost or bent elbows up around the ears. Allowing our hip flexors to open, that's that creasy spot at the top of our thighs. We spend a lot of time in a seated position throughout our day, whether we're driving or flying or working at a desk, maybe watching Netflix. That little spot in our body just gets sandwiched together. It doesn't get the work and the movement and the breath when it's tight. When we can open that front body area like the hip flexors, it can actually minimize some of the stress that we're feeling in our low backs. Take another big breath here. While we're in this spot, we're turning our head all the way over to the left. So even if it means like a lift and shift, to allow that head to come over to the left. Feeling this nice opening across the right side. And at any time it feels good for you to keep your eyes closed, you're more than welcome. Breathe. Next breath, we'll slowly roll the head up and over to the opposite side, making sure that the shoulder blades are still attached to the ground. Taking a few breaths now, looking over to the right, feeling that big opening and spaciousness in the left side of the neck and shoulders. Take a breath. Inhaling the forehead back to the center. We'll slowly bring the knees together. Allow the low spine to melt into the floor. The feet are about hip width apart. We're now going to stretch the arms straight out into a letter T, palms face the sky. Give yourself a big breath. Next breath, pull the knees into the chest and give them a hug. Knowing that self-care is not selfish, so we're going to give ourselves a little bit of love today here. Pulling those knees in tight. Giving yourself a couple of breaths, pretending that this is like the upside down, which it really is, the version of child's pose. Another big breath. We'll let the knees and feet come back to this neutral position. Arms are out in the letter T, palms face the sky. Working through a little spinal twist next. On a breath, feet come up, knees are in a 90-degree angle. We'll allow those knees to come over to the left side of the body, and the head can turn to the right if that feels okay. We're feeling this nice spinal twist starting from the right armpit, right side body, right hip, down this IT band that also wraps around our kneecap. Check in with the breath here. And another big breath. On your next breath, just gently transition back to center, but we'll replant the feet, letting the spine rebound from the twist, taking a breath here in neutral or the center. Next breath, lifting those feet off the floor, and we're going to roll it over to the right, allowing that head to turn to the left if that's accessible. Feeling the stretch now from the left armpit, down the side body, left hip, and maybe across and into that left knee cap. If you're at home practicing and you find that certain areas of the body are hovering and not quite meeting the floor, explore some props that bring the floor to you. So for some people, this shoulder or this arm might be kind of flying out to the side. You can always tuck something underneath there, like a towel or a washcloth, pillow, blankets, bolsters, or blocks if you have them accessible. Take another big breath.
Pulling it all back to the center, and we'll replant the feet. Take a breath. Next breath, pulling both of those knees into the chest again and give it a hug. We might even rock and roll from side to side this time, feeling a little crack or two in the low spine. We'll keep the left knee hugged in tight and stretch the right leg out long. As that right leg elongates, think about taking that flat foot like you're pushing away that wall. Then we'll pull this left knee in. So it's a two-way street. We're working the hamstring on the left leg, but also opening up this right quad. Breathe. Take another big breath here as we switch out to the other side, hugging the right knee into the body, elongating that left leg, sliding that left heel out. We've got that flat foot moving away from the body, opening up this left leg and giving some love to the right hamstring. Take a breath. Now we'll pull both knees into the chest. You can rock and roll if you'd like. And then we'll bring those legs straight into the air. Reaching the arms up over the head, we have kind of an L shape with our bodies. You get to point and flex your toes here, towards the body, away from the body, towards the body. Keep doing it. You want to feel some crack-a-lacka in the ankles, a little stretch across the shins and the tops of the feet. Maybe even spread and wiggle the toes a little bit, whatever feels good. We'll draw some circles. Maybe more cracking. And then we'll let the legs come long, pointing the toes out and away from the front end of your mat, reaching above your head, big full body stretch. So think about me pulling your arms away from your head. Somebody else is pulling your feet away from your body. Take a big breath. Eventually, slowly taking your time to let the arms come down alongside the body. Feet and ankles get to splay open about hip width apart. Let the palms face the sky to receive energy. Let the back side of the head nestle into the mat. You're moving into Shavasana or corpse pose, your final resting posture. As we let the back side of the body melt into the earth, we want to think about releasing any last bits of tension that are left in the body. We let the shoulder blades meet the floor. We get a feel where the spine goes down the mat and where our hip points are touching the earth. Back side of the legs into the feet and ankles. And if it's good for you here to close your eyes, I encourage you to do so. We get to minimize the brain stimulation. Anytime that we can do that to help that monkey chatter be at bay is a bonus point or two. Feel that rise and fall of your chest and the movement of your diaphragm. We allow ourselves at the end of class to find this stillness and quiet, a little moment of rest and relaxation. A little pat on the back for all the hard work you've put in today, whether it's at work or at home, or the hard work of the breath and movement of yoga and being on your mat. Take a couple more breaths here. Maybe feeling that tension melt away a little bit more with each exhale. And remember, when the mind begins to wander, which it will, it's a natural occurrence, we just reel it back into the breath. On the next breath, slowly wiggle your fingers and toes. Rolling to either the right or the left, you'll find yourself in this fetal-like position on your side body as a nice natural pause before you eventually push yourself up and transition back up to that original seated spot of whatever comfortable seat works for you.
Allowing those knees to meet the hands to meet the knees or just alongside the body. Check back in with the breath here. Sit really tall. If you want to have your eyes closed, you can. On the next breath, we'll sweep our arms up and towards the beautiful sky, palms together in the heart. And if you wish, bowing your head with Namaste. Thanks for checking in today. May the light in me bring out the light in you, and vice versa. Peace.